Okay, hello? Is this thing on? I'm assuming that I'm coming through on the stream right now. I am Tyzerra, not Shaw8b. Shaw is running this no mic right now, and I'm going to do commentary for him. So this is Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage of Reignited, and I think I'm going to give a countdown. I am on. Cool, yeah. So on go, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I don't know if I actually did that like at a good rhythm or anything. But yeah, so obviously Reignited has only been out for like a week now, not even that. So this is like very early days, and with it being a 100% run as opposed to any percent, there's obviously going to be a lot more sort of unoptimal stuff or like things that we haven't really figured out just yet. But we obviously have the route from the original game to use as like a base. So even though we can't do the original out of bounds and do this level backwards, Shaw's still going to try and get to the end and start the Lizards challenge sort of not as soon as possible, but you know, he's going to like leave a bunch of stuff through the level so he can come back and get it. I'm not entirely sure what to say at this point, because anytime I've done commentary for Spyro 2 in the past, like the first thing, like literally the first thing for any run is like, okay, so this game has a double jump, which is like unintended and it breaks the game, blah, blah, blah. And like, that's always the thing that like people open up commentary for this game with. But like, there is no double jump in Reignited anymore. So I'm sort of at a loss what to say for Glimmer. But I guess for people who aren't familiar with Spyro 2, 100% in this game is defined as collecting all 10,000 gems, 64 orbs, and 14 talismans. So talismans you get at the end of levels in Summer Forest and Autumn Plains, the two first homeworlds. And then orbs are like for challenges and stuff. So this is the first challenge. This is the Lizards challenge that sort of takes you from the end of the level through to the start of the level. So yeah, Shaw's gonna get that started, and he deliberately left a bunch of stuff earlier in the level because he's forced to go back through when he's doing this challenge. And then you've got challenges like this. So this one he has to light the lamps, and in the original we could use a technique called flame charge jumping, which basically directs your flame upwards instead of like straight in front of you. But that's also gone in Reignited. So as far as we know at this point, we have to use the Superfly power-up to get all these lamps. So there's going to be a recurring theme throughout this run. It's like, hey, in the original, we did this cool thing that got the challenge done quicker, but now we have to do it pretty much the intended way. Remember to stay hydrated, folks. Yeah, so like I said, this lizard challenge just sort of takes you through the level, and the annoying part about it is the NPC who walks you through the level. He has like a bunch of checkpoints that you have to like meet him at before he continues further. So if you just race off ahead of him, he'll stop and he waits for you to come back. So at some points, it'll probably look like Shaw just like goes slow for seemingly no reason, or like he turns back on himself, and you're like, why would he do that? And yeah, it's because of the NPC. But that does give him an opportunity to collect some stuff along the way. And right there, that is probably the first interesting sort of skip or trick in the run. So it turns out that even though double jumping is gone, the hover in Reignited, which is obviously only in 2 and 3, not in 1 because you can't hover in 1, can be abused a decent bit. You can get like a decent amount of height from it. It's not quite double jumping, you don't get as much height, but you can skip a fair amount of things. It seems like they underestimated how good like an optimal hover could be. So Shaw used the hover to get on top of this green gem, then up to the top of the ladder, and of course you're supposed to get climb from Autumn Plains, the second homeworld, and then come back to this level and revisit it. But it turns out that with the hover orb using, you can just skip that completely and complete this level in one visit. And in fact, Sunny Beach, another level in the first homeworld, there's another instance where you're supposed to climb. In fact, there are 2 instances in that level that you're supposed to climb. But thanks to cool tricks, you can skip those and you don't have to revisit. Okay, so that's all 3 orbs from this level, and he just needs gems. Yeah, so I just saw in the chat about the basket. Yeah. So in the original, when finishing the Lizards challenge, you would double jump out of bounds and just skip straight to this tally room. But because Shaw, well, because you can't double jump in this game, Shaw knew that he had to come back through the level. Yeah. Oh, it's unfortunate that he missed a gem there and had to go back for it. But oh well. Yeah, so there's the first talisman, the magic pick. Oh my, what? Did he just go through the portal? I've not seen that before. That's funny. Jesus. Yeah, there's some interesting stuff with portals in this game. I was playing through Spyro 3 earlier, the Reignited version, obviously, and I was bonking on one of the portals. I was trying to enter it with a charge, and it was just not happening, so... Yeah, okay, so we're out of the first level and into the first homeworld now. I'm not sure what the time is at. I don't have a timer on my end, but in the original, a 100% run through of Glimmer would take about 3 minutes, give or take. It's significantly longer in this version, and that is pretty much the case for every level, unfortunately. But it's about what you'd expect, so... Yeah, Pete, I just, you know, me, Shaw8b, I love Tyzerra so much, I just wanted to sound like him. But yeah, so if anyone missed the beginning, Shaw's running this, no mic. And he asked me to commentate for him, so yeah. Alright, so now we're entering Colossus. And this level has had a couple of interesting developments found so far, but the main one we're looking for right now is a skip up to the Professor, who is at the top of the level, and you're supposed to kill 11 enemies and activate a spring power-up, which launches you up into the air, and that's how you get high enough to reach the Professor to start a challenge. And it would be really nice if we could find a way to get up there without using the power-up, without having to kill 11 enemies, but so far it's not happened. Yeah, so because he needs enemies and for various other reasons, he's pretty much going to be doing a almost intended run through the level and getting destroyed by yaks along the way, it seems. In fact, there is an interesting skip in this level. Earlier on, the second NPC that he spoke to open that door or like bring the tunnel up, you can jump from that tunnel and land on the statue that's outside, and then from the statue you can jump up onto the wall and you can sort of skip a bit of platforming. I don't know if you'd call it platforming, but yeah, you can like skip a bit of the level. But since this is 100% and Shaw has to go like everywhere anyway, I don't think it would really be useful in 100%. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery. It's very true. Alright, I see a question about water planes. So, first of all, water planes are no longer a thing. Sure, why are you flaming the statue? You haven't started the challenge yet. Yeah, so water planes are not a thing in this game. Water, instead of being defined as a plane that you pass through that says you've gone from swimming to not swimming, or vice versa, it's now just a body of water. It's like a big volume, like a big cuboid. And like if you're in the cuboid, you're swimming. If you're not in the cuboid, you're not swimming. And so for that reason, we don't think there's going to be swim in air really in this game. there are a few areas where you can access bodies of water sort of out of bounds, and so it kind of looks like a swim in air because, you know, they haven't like drawn in or like rendered in like any stuff to make it look like you're in water. But yeah, like swim in air, like as we knew it in the originals, is not really a thing, we think anyway. Yeah, big words like cuboid. Yeah, so here we come to possibly your childhood favorite or least favorite minigame of Spyro 2. It seems to be a very torn debate, the ice hockey. And in fact, I have to say, after playing this a decent bit, I think this hockey is gonna turn out to be less stressful than in the original, because the puck moves a lot slower, and it seems like you can grab it quickly more consistently. Like in the original, you could get quick shots, like you could pick up the puck very quickly and shoot it into the goal and like have that shot just be done like super fast. Like there was a strat for it, but it was inconsistent. Like all the time people would say, hey man, look at this cool strat I found to make quick shots consistent, and then you'd try it yourself and it just didn't work, and then they would try it again and it would not work. But because the puck moves slower in this version, and I don't know if there's just like other different stuff that like I'm not aware of, it just generally seems like it should be a lot more consistent, which is a nice thing. And yeah, Crafty Snake, like the game's only been out for what, 5 days at this point? 6 if you got it a day early or something. So no, there haven't been a whole lot of developments made. But that said, we have found like a bunch of stuff, like as a community effort. Like all sorts of people have pitched in with Twitch highlights or clips or like YouTube recordings or uploads, whatever, of like stuff they found. And a decent amount of it is like useful stuff as well. Oh my god, I can't believe that shot went in. That was incredible. I didn't think it was going to make it. Hit or miss. Someone ban back, please. Thanks. Don't actually. Oh, that was interesting. I saw that, so like even though Shaw was on the ice there, it looked like he managed to find some sort of like solid ground or like not ice to charge across. I've noticed that in a few places in this game. Somewhere where there's ice and you're supposed to like skate along it. Like usually at the edge of the room or something, there's like not ice that you can stand on and charge across. So I think it's worth trying to like find out where those are, because charging is faster than skating. Oh damn, this spring power up. Ah, that camera's so awkward. Nice, he's got it. Yeah, so in fact that rocket reminds me, in a few levels in this game, it turns out you can stand on top of the rocket after flaming it, and it will carry Spyro with it. And so you can watch Spyro fly through the sky on top of a little rocket. And I'm sure at some point someone's going to find something useful with that. There's going to be a sick strat where Spyro rides the rocket. Also, I started talking about the statues challenge earlier, but then like not actually once Shaw started it. So you speak to the professor and he tells you that all of the statues in the level are invaded, I guess, by these evil spirits. You have to flame all the statues to get rid of the evil spirits. So it's just like a little challenge that takes you around the level. And so the reason why a skip up to the professor, sort of to get there quickly, would be useful is because then you can just start the challenge sooner so that you've explored less of the level, and then when you're going around flaming all the statues, then you can like pick stuff up and you won't have to like backtrack over places you've already been. Sorry, Ben. I am on commentary for Shaw. I will not be shutting up.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure at some point there are going to be some bigger skips, and possibly glitches or whatever, found for this game. It's just going to take time, unfortunately. Yeah, so it's worth noting that in the original game with double jump, once you complete that hunter challenge, when he gives you the orb, you can double jump and glide across to that little ledge that's above Colossus, and you can pick up the orb that's there and then clear a water tunnel that's down there as well. But no double jumping. We haven't found a way yet to make a jump like that possible. So what is interesting about the remakes is that you can fast travel to any level now. So later on in the run, Shaw's going to be in the third homeworld, and instead of doing more stuff in that homeworld, at the end of one of the levels, he's going to warp back to Summer Forest, and he's going to pick up some stuff that he's left behind, or that he will leave behind in this homeworld. You know, and to me, someone who enjoys the routing aspect of speedrunning, I think that's pretty cool, because it's something that wasn't possible in the original. And also, this is obviously a remake of the original games, right? It's not like technically a remaster, because it's completely rebuilt from the ground up. And I see a lot of people talking about how they wish it was like one for one, like absolutely identical in every way. But I think that's silly. Like, the original games already exist. Like, if you want something that's one for one, like identical to the originals, play the originals. I want to see differences. Like, I enjoy seeing things that are different. And so including stuff like warping or fast traveling, it's pretty cool. Yeah, so I didn't talk about it, but that fish challenge where you have to feed the tiki head blue and yellow fish, but not red fish, I'd be inclined to say it's typically faster in this version than the original. The fish seem to come out much more frequently, and they jump across quicker as well. Like, it just takes less time for one fish to come out after the next. So I think I can speak properly. Yeah, I think that even if you were to get like too many redfish or whatever, it would still come out probably like a little bit faster than in the original. Yeah, so I guess I should like get back on actually talking about the game, because I wasn't really doing that too much. So right now, at the beginning of the level, Shaw spoke to an NPC and began a series of puzzle challenges. So it's all for one single orb, but you have to do 3 separate things. So the first thing was to light up all the blocks in that dude's little room, and that's just as simple as jumping on the corner blocks. And then you have to go outside and feed the idle head different colored fish, blue and yellow but not red. So that's the second part. And then Shaw's currently ignoring it. It's just outside this talisman room. You're supposed to step on these puzzle pieces that are in the ground, and they have different shapes and colors on them, and so you have to like figure out a pattern. Like, one relates to the last one, and so you figure out the order to press them. But he's deliberately going to leave that because he's going to be coming back to this part of the level. So yeah, it's also worth noting that in the original, this supercharge power-up, you could easily abuse this rock that the hula girl is stood next to. You could supercharge up that and escape out of this area. So you could carry the supercharge elsewhere in the level, and that was, you know, obviously fast. Supercharging is very fast movement, but so far we haven't found a way to escape this particular supercharge. So it's regular charging movement for us. Yeah, so right around here, I think is where Shaw's gonna double back on himself. Yeah, so he lights that rocket, and that's gonna blow up a metal chest that's near the beginning of the level. And you might be thinking, wow, if it's at the beginning of the level, why is he running back to the end of the level? And so what he's doing, he's coming back to finish up this puzzle challenge that I mentioned. So this is the third of 3, and so he's going to press down these stones in the correct order. And once he's finished that, he's going to get warped back to the starting room where he began this challenge. And because this room is right near the beginning of the level, he's just conveniently warped back to where he needs to go anyway. So now he's just going to pop out of this room and collect the gems that are in this lake, including the ones that are from the metal chest that he blew up with the rocket. Yeah, and you're not supposed to make this jump right here. You're supposed to sort of glide from the top of the level, but like I was talking about in Glimmer, the hover is quite abusable in this game. It's like a poor man's double jump, I think someone described it as. I liked that. Also, I'm going to call out Ben Saunders right now. They made 5 gems purple because they're purple. I think they look good. Fight me. A poor man, yeah. Alright, so that's the first half, if you will, of Summer Forest complete. There are still some gems back near the beginning, outside Glimmer, and there's a water tunnel and an orb to collect, but like I mentioned, Shaw's going to warp back and get those later. And the reason he's going to warp back and get those later, I should say, is because just through here, next to Hurricos, there's a ladder that you have to climb, and there are some gems and an orb at the top. But you don't get climb until you've been to Autumn Plains. So, like, regardless of what you do, well, right now, because we don't have a skip to the top of this ladder, you have to come back to Summer Forest. And so because you have to come back to Summer Forest, you might as well leave some other stuff to make your trip worthwhile. Alright, Hurricos is actually an interesting level. This is one of the levels that's had, I'd say, quite a bit of development made in just the short space of time this game's been out. So I don't actually know if the skips I'm thinking of are used in 100%, but I'm tempted to say they are. Well, he just destroyed a windmill that he would have used to climb up somewhere, so I'm going to assume that the skip is not used in 100%. Yeah, so it turns out by abusing the hover again, you can hover on top of those small little windmills, and then you can sort of gradually climb up to the top and get onto the roof of the talisman building. And from there you can sort of work through the level sort of in any way that you want, really, because once you're up high, you know, you can just drop down at any point that you want to, really. Yeah, also it should be noted that we currently, since we can't get the infinite fireball power up and then just come back to all the levels like we do in the original, there's a metal chest in this level that we have to use the supercharge for, and that supercharge requires 18 enemies, which is a pretty hefty number. So Shaw's going to be killing a bunch of enemies throughout this level. Now this challenge, Lightning Orbs, in the original game I feel it was actually really interesting. It was definitely annoying at times, but now that I've seen the remake's version of this challenge, you know, I appreciate the original much more. So in the original there was a logic to it. So like there's this upper area, the middle area, and the lower area. And in the original you would have 4 enemies at the top, 2 enemies in the middle, and 4 enemies at the bottom. So that's 10 total. And so you could, with that knowledge, you could sort of come up with a system. You could put the orbs in particular places to make enemies spawn where you want them to, and sort of get the most bang for your buck. So you could get like 4 enemies to spawn in at once, or something like that. But now it seems that you only ever get 1 enemy at the top and 1 enemy at the bottom, and they just alternate, and that's all that happens. So because of that, you're watching Shaw just run backwards and forwards over and over again. And it's not really his fault. There's nothing he can do about it. I feel like they really dropped the ball on this challenge, honestly. It's severely disappointing. Like, I feel like at this point in the original, the challenge would be over. He would have killed all 10 thieves and all the lightning orbs would be in place. But because they like completely overhauled how this challenge works, for the worse, it's very dull. Dropped the orbs. Oh dear. Oh dear. But yeah, I think that was all 10 thieves killed, and so now he's just gonna pop the last few lightning orbs in place to finish the challenge. Ooh, almost fell off the edge there. Careful, Shaw. Yeah, so like I mentioned in Colossus, a lot of stuff is going to be sort of very intended compared to the original game. So he's going to have to be picking up these diodes and going through the electrical gates sort of in the order that the game wants him to. Oh my god, Shaw, no. Oh dear. Yeah, and as you can see, deaths are significantly more costly in this game than the original. I say that, Shaw's running on an SSD, so his load times are a lot better than what most people are going to be seeing for this game. I did forget actually that Shaw's running on an SSD. But yeah, it's definitely a bigger time loss for dying in this game. Alright, 19 enemies. We got enough for the supercharge, boys. Gonna go break this metal chest. Oh, of course. So I'd forgotten that you have to do this fan challenge the intended way as well. I think technically you don't have to do it the intended way. You don't have to slow down these fans. You can jump on them when they're fast, but it's sort of difficult, and you can go launching off of them in a direction that you don't want to go. Also, seeing that metal chest get broken reminded me. So in the original, if you supercharged, or broke for that matter, like any sort of strong chest or a head bash crate or something, the gems would pop out all sort of neatly. They'd all sort of surround where the chest was in a nice circle or something. But in this game, if you supercharge through a chest, like all the gems just get given to you, like in an instant. It's crazy. Like speed-wise, I guess, you know, it's kind of cool. It's faster for us, but it strikes me as very bizarre. I'm not really sure why they made that decision. Yeah, so watching Shaw play through this, I feel like you could make a lot of changes to this Hurricos route in 100% using some of the any percent stuff that's been found. But you know, the game's only been out for like 5 days or something. Very few routes have really been put together. Most of this stuff that you're seeing Shaw do is stuff that he's just come up with himself. Stuff that he feels is good. And you know, Shaw has an insane amount of experience speedrunning the original Spyro 2, so He should have a decent intuition as to what's fast. Oh, is he missing gems again? Oh dear. Oh, is it the 5 gem around this corner? It is the 5 gem around the corner. I feel you on that one, big lad. I don't like how the orbs just sort of appear in front of you and you just get them. I liked in the original how they were like actually given to you by the NPC. They bounced to you. Just one of many things though that Toys for Bob, I guess, didn't didn't want to do. Alright, so Sunny Beach is a pretty good level actually in terms of speed development so far. So I mentioned earlier that this level has 2 instances of ladders, so where you're supposed to... Oh no, that basket! That's a shame. But yeah, there are 2 instances of ladders where you're supposed to buy climb in the second homeworld, and then come back to this level and do it on a second visit. But I think on day 1, either day 1 or day 0, because someone got the game a day early, a skip was found to cut out both ladders. So this level can be completed in 1 visit, which is really nice. Man, those Zapper enemies, I don't know what they're actually called. I find that they're really annoying. Like, I'm not surprised that Shaw's getting hit by them. It's funny, there are like a bunch of things that are different between this and the original, and my muscle memory, like I imagine this is the same for Shaw as well. Like, my muscle memory tells me like, oh, I know that I have like a couple seconds before this enemy is going to attack me, and so I feel like it's safe to do something or go somewhere. But then, of course, like, they don't wait a few seconds or whatever the difference might be, and then I get owned. So I reckon like Shaw has the same thing. He probably thinks that he has leeway to get past an enemy or whatever, but then he doesn't and gets hit. Yeah, so this is another level where Shaw's deliberately left a bunch of stuff earlier on in the level because he has to go back anyway. So one of the challenges in this level is to break open the 7 crates with the baby turtles in them, and you can only do that using the fireball power-up. And you don't get the fireball power-up until midway through the level. So for that first half of the level, you might as well just leave some stuff because you have to go back through it anyway to get the turtle crate that's in the first room. Yeah, I imagine it's crazy for NST, especially Crash 1, the changes that they made for that. Alright, so here is the first climb skip in Sunny Beach. So you normally have to use climb to get to the turtle soup challenge. But using this turtle, and then getting onto this pipe, you can neatly skip that ladder. And personally, I think that's a really cool skip, because it's very similar to a skip that used to be done in the original, where you would jump on the turtle's back and then jump up onto a wall and then get over here. But yeah, now you just go from the turtle to the pipe up here. So stuff like that I think is really cool. In fact, I'd say there are a decent number of places in this game where you can use the scenery to your advantage. Obviously, in the PS1 version, of this game, a lot of stuff was just sort of flat walls, flat textures, so it wouldn't even be possible to stand on that pipe, because that pipe probably didn't even exist. But with Toys for Bob putting in like all this extra scenery and stuff, some of it, not all, because they went pretty ham with invisible walls everywhere, but there are some bits of scenery and stuff that you can use to your advantage. And stuff like that is sort of what makes this game interesting compared to the original. Yeah, so for this challenge, the chef wants to cook some turtle soup. He's trying to lure these baby turtles into the cauldron and make soup out of them, and Spyro has to rescue them by butting his head into them and giving them severe motion sickness. I'm surprised no one said that before, Zawa. It dawned on me the other day. I pointed this out to someone. I was like, wait a minute. Why are these turtles? They're not turtles, they're tortoises. Tortoises have legs and live on land. Turtles have flippers and live in water. It only dawned on me the other day. But hey-oh, everyone calls them turtles, even in-game, I think. So, alright, here's the second instance of climb skip, which Shaw nicely messed up. But yeah, it's as simple as climbing on the wall of that bridge and jumping across. Yeah, it should technically be tortoise soup. Nice, there we go. Yeah, so you're supposed to climb up to get those gems. But with a good charge, jump, glide, hover on the bridge, you can skip over there. Oh, did he miss a 5 gem by the NPC? Oh, 2 5 gems. Yeah, I did wonder if he missed one, but I guess he missed both. So yeah, that's 2 levels now in Summer Forest, Glimmer and Sunny Beach, that you're supposed to come back to, you're supposed to revisit, but thanks to stuff that people have found, we can do both of those levels in one visit instead. So, you know, that's cool. It's always nice when you can cut out revisits. Alright, so now we're coming up to the first speedway in the run. Now, I don't know how many of you liked the speedways in the original, but I thought they were pretty good. But if you've not played Reignited, then yeah, the flight mechanics, I think, could do with a lot of work. It's very floaty, sort of you tap left and you're like, oh, Spyro's going to go left, but then he just sort of like meanders to the left. He doesn't really go where you want him to go. It's kind of awkward. Like is a very decisive word. Oh damn, I've not seen that supercharge implemented. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it feels like supercharging works differently in speedways now. In the original, I feel like you could hold square, and as soon as you land, like, you're put to max supercharge speed. But I want to say you have to like gradually build it up now. I'm not sure if that's me or not, or like if I'm doing something wrong, but that's the impression that I've got from playing the game. Nice, you got the skill point. You see, ladies and gents, that's the sign of a true speedman. You get the skill point for beating a particular time limit in the speedway. Yeah, I feel you, Silver. I think the rings look kind of weird as well. But yeah, so in every speedway, there's the initial time attack that you have to do, and once you've completed that, you can find an NPC in the level, and they will give you a hunter challenge. So, well, those were some dodgy hovers there. So in this particular speedway, the hunter challenge is that Hunter is gonna take a fixed path through 20 of these rings, and you have to follow him. Anytime he passes through a ring, it'll turn green, and then it will slowly shrink. And if it shrinks completely and disappears before you go through it, then you fail. So you got to know like what rings Hunter's going to go through. But as you're seeing from Shaw here, he's not following Hunter in the slightest, because Shaw knows exactly what order Hunter goes through the rings, and he knows how much time that he has to go through the rings. Oh my god. Yeah, so the ring hitboxes are like kind of dodgy in SRT, I would say. Also, I've not used that acronym yet, but if you couldn't figure out, SRT is just Spyro Reignited Trilogy. That's what all the cool kids are saying, I swear. But yeah, Shaw knows exactly what order the rings are gonna appear in. Not appear, you know what I mean. And so he's just taking advantage of the time it takes for Hunter to get between rings, to just go through them in whatever order he feels like. Yeah, no problem, Ben. Yeah, that's a good point, Pete. I don't know about anyone else, but I always killed all those fish in the original. Just a homicidal maniac, apparently. Alright, so this is the last level in Summer Forest, Aquaria Towers. Now, unfortunately, it's behind a wall that Moneybags has to bring down for you, and you have to pay him 400 gems for it. In the original, we could nicely just double jump over the wall and get into Aquaria Towers, but that is no longer the case. Well, we didn't do that in 100%. In 100%, we double jumped out of bounds and completely skipped every level in Summer Forest, and then came back later when Moneybags was gone. But yeah, in other categories like 14 Talisman, you would just double jump straight over the wall, bypass Moneybags. Yeah, so as well as flying mechanics being sort of floaty and not particularly great, swimming mechanics are also kind of floaty and not particularly great. So I used to really like Aquaria Towers. It was one of my favorite levels in the original, but now I find it a bit of a pain to play just because swimming's not great. Also, something that I haven't heard anyone talk about yet. I'm sure people have noticed it, but I've just not heard them talk about it. In the original games, when you were underwater, Sparks' range was bigger than when you're like on ground. But in Reignited, that's not the case. Sparks still has the same range. I didn't think that would really be a big deal. Like, when I first noticed it, I thought, oh, okay, so Sparks has normal range underwater. Like, big deal. That's... Yeah, I didn't think it was really going to affect anything. But with the floaty controls, like, not really going where you want Spyro to go, and then Sparks not having that little extra range, I think swimming is a lot more cumbersome than it has to be. But hey, on the bright side of things, we get to see the sick new shark submarine. So in fact, just earlier today, someone found a skip in the first room. So what you're about to see, if Shaw decides to go there. Okay, no, I guess he's going to go down here. Oh, he needs enemies for the firewall power-up. Of course he does. Yeah. So Shaw's about to get the talisman for this level. And if you notice, the talisman NPC is in the starting room. This is like just above where you started. And earlier today, someone found a jump up to this ledge. And so you can just speak to the NPC and he'll give you the talisman. You don't have to go through the level at all. But obviously this is 100% Shaw needs everything, so it's beneficial. Well, not only beneficial, but he has to go forwards through the level to raise the water enough so that he can go up to this section here. You want objective commentary? What is this barrage of opinions? I don't know, man. I don't know how to commentate this game objectively. But yeah, this is the Manta Ray challenge, and there are 2 of these in this level. So essentially you get on the Manta Ray's back, and then a seahorse swims in front of you, and he farts out bubble rings that you have to swim through. So it's pretty much just a case of following the seahorse. And obviously Shaw knows the pattern because he's played the original a bunch. He just knows where the seahorse is going to go. And he didn't do it just there, but I noticed earlier today that when you're on the Manta Ray, you can swim directly into a bottle and it will break it, which is interesting because in the original that didn't happen. If you swam into a bottle with the Manta Ray, it would just sort of like bounce off it. But now you can break the bottles with the Manta Ray, so I think there's an interesting like potential for routing gems in this area. Also, I'm realizing that this whole commentary is just going to be like, oh yeah, like in the original you could do this thing, but in the remake you can't. Challenge. It turns out that the NPC is only interested in the last child of his to be rescued. So you're supposed to go into all of these towers and rescue all 6 seahorses. But in the original, if you get the 6th one without getting any of the others, you still get the orb. So we would use a clever out of bounds and just head straight into the last tower, get the last seahorse, and that would be it, challenge done. But that is no longer the case, so Shaw is going to have to swim through all 6 of these towers. And he's also going to get himself electrocuted a bunch, it seems. I imagine like swimming into these towers is just one of those things that Shaw doesn't really know like how to handle, doesn't really know like how to go about doing it, because he's never had to before when speedrunning the original Spyro 2. I personally have not felt any motion sickness from playing or watching this game. I've heard like everyone else in the world say that they get motion sickness, but I don't know. I understand why people find the motion blur annoying, but I don't know, it doesn't particularly bother me. That's true, Easy Escape. It does take time for the electric barriers to go away. So it might just be faster to damage abuse anyway. Alright, so now that Shaw has the fireball power-up, he's going to go back through where he took the shark submarine, and he's going to teach these sharks who's boss by blowing them up, because that's what you do in life. Should be. Oh, he has to do the last tower as well. Yeah. I know what's going on. I'm giving good commentary. Honest. Also, seeing King Flippy there kind of creeps me out. He looks so old and decrepit now. He looks so wrinkly. It's not at all how I imagined him. The last time I played Spyro 2, I played Spyro 2 Reignited just today. The original Spyro 2, a long time ago. Alright, so that's the first visit of Summer Forest done. And now we're gonna go fight the first boss of the game, Crush. In fact, this whole arena has had like a massive overhaul from the original. In the original game, there was lava around the outside, and it was very sort of white, grey, sort of stone everywhere. But now they've given it this like green sewer theme, and to be honest, I think it's pretty cool. I like what they've done with it. Crush is indeed a pushover. So you might be confused as to why Shaw's taking damage on all of these. You think, but Tyzerra, he's a speedrunner. Surely he's good at this game. Why is he getting hit all the time? So it turns out it's faster just to take damage, like on every single hit in this fight. In the original, we'd take damage on some of the hits, but not all of them, because it just worked out faster that way. But they changed how certain attacks work. In particular, they changed how this blue attack worked. In the original, when Crush stomped and sort of the blue wave came out, his force field would go down for a second, and in that time, you could attack him. So for the blue attacks, it would be faster just to dodge the first one and flame him while his shield was down. But that doesn't happen in the remake, so it turns out just to be faster to take the hit on every single attack. Yeah, also they changed how fodder, like sheep, work in that fight. In the original, like anytime you were low, if you were on green sparks or no sparks, then sheep would randomly just drop from the ceiling. But now they just give you 3 at the beginning and say, there you go. Like, you don't get any more. Which I think is interesting. I think it's probably better that way. But yeah, it's an interesting decision. Yeah, so this is the part where we skip Gulp and we do nothing in Autumn Plains. Unfortunately, there has been no Gulp skip discovery just yet. But maybe one day, someone will find a way to skip into Gulp. And also into Dragon Shores. And also into the Infinite Fireball room. But for now, none of those skips exist. So we're going to do Autumn Plains. Go through each of the levels. And in fact, I was going to say so little skips have been discovered yet, but we've had a fair amount, just like not significant ones. But yeah, we can't even skip the first jump in this level. In the original, we just double jump, glide across, and you could make it. But alas, we have no way to get such height or distance anymore. So you gotta take the intended way, free out all these Eskimos. Yeah, I'm seeing some messages in chat about the Gulp fight. Honestly, I think it's pretty awful, I'm not gonna lie. Also, I was playing Spyro 3 earlier today, and I was playing it yesterday as well, and I think the boss fights in that are maybe not horrendous, it might be an overstatement, but they're pretty bad. So I think bosses in general just didn't do a great job of. Anyway, so we have to pay moneybags here to open this bridge, and that's 200 gems required, because we currently have no way to skip that yet. And so, even though this is 100%, and Shaw clearly has enough gems for all the purchases he needs, because he's just getting all the gems, in any percent, there are actually a lot of moneybags instances. that sort of really could be done with skipping. It'd be very beneficial. So that's the talisman in Crystal Glacier. Just free some Eskimos, and even though Shaw skipped the cutscene, because he is a speed man and he has no time for that, they roll a big snowball down a hill, and then somehow it gains air. I don't really know how it gets into the air, but then it lands on top of the prison that he's being held in, and it blows the roof off and the door. You rescue him and get the talisman. I pronounce glacier like a Tory. Sorry, Ben. I don't know if we have any Snow Leopard fans in the house. I know a lot of people thought George was very cute in the original. And let's be real, he was. But it seems like they've made him even cuter in Reignited. Looks like they made him smaller, made his head a bit bigger. You know, typical cutesy stuff. So if you're not as interested in the mechanics or, you know, the actual gameplay changes between the original and the remake, and you're just interested in how things look, George looks pretty cute. So you got that going for you. Also going to throw out another reminder to stay hydrated, drink plenty of water. That challenge is pretty self-explanatory. George is lost, and you have to feed him some fish from the fishing holes to lure him back to his owner. And now we come on to Draclets. So these guys, as you can see, there are 18 of them, and once you kill one, you're on a time limit until it's going to be respawned back. So once you defeat the first one, you want to sort of be on your toes and kill all of them before the first one can get a chance to respawn again. But since this is 100%, you know, gems are important, Shaw's also going to be collecting all of the gems while doing this challenge. And hopefully, it looks like he's got it. Yeah, so that first one did respawn, but that's fine. I think that's like about as fast as you can do it. I don't think you can do it without the first one not coming back. Yeah. Interesting thing as well, earlier today, I was playing through Crystal Glacier, testing something, and in the original game, Draclets don't damage you, they don't do anything to you, so you can just stand next to them and nothing happens. So I assumed that was the same in this game as well. I just put my controller down next to a Draclet, and the next thing I know, I look over and it attacks me, and I took damage. I was very surprised. I'm not sure why they changed that. Not that it's a big thing, but it just surprised me. Alright, so once we clear out this pool, we're going to head into Skelos Badlands. A level which is done completely differently. I mean, most levels in this game are done completely differently to the original, but this one more so. So in the original, we would skip from the beginning to the end and sort of work through the level backwards, because there's a mystery jar at the end of the level. And if you don't know what mystery jars are, they start in a fixed position, typically near the end of the level, and then when you destroy it, it teleports to somewhere else in the level. And it normally works its way around the level from back to front. And so generally, if a level has a mystery jar, chances are the best route is going to be sort of getting to the end quickly and then following it back through. So that's what we did in this level. But the end of level skip, which does exist still in the Reignited version, is very difficult. So I don't think people are going to be doing it in runs anytime soon. Oh man, that was a nice rock throw at that enemy. Yeah, so again, Shaw is going to be leaving stuff as he goes through the level, because he's going to have to come back through later anyway when he's chasing the mystery jar. And so you've also probably noticed these lava toads, or lizards as a lot of people like to call them, but they are not lizards, they are lava toads, carrying bones. So there are 8 of them throughout the level, and when you defeat all 8 of them and pick up their bones, you'll be teleported back to that NPC that we just saw next to the pile of bones, and you will restore the skeleton, and you will be rewarded with the bone dance. And they have pretty drastically changed the dance from the original to this game, and I'm sure there will be plenty of heated opinions about that. Oh my god, Shaw diving across those bone stairs. Almost fell in a couple times. Right, he kills 16 enemies. I wasn't actually sure what he does in this level. So he kills the 16 enemies required for the invincibility power-up. Which, given that he goes through the level forwards anyway, is probably a decent move. Yeah, so as you can see, the mystery jar is changing up its location each time Shaw destroys it. And he obviously knows which position it's going to be in next. So he's using that to his advantage. Following it through. And I think he's going to go pick up a 10 gem here that he left from earlier. He is indeed. I was worried that he might forget about it. I shouldn't be though. Shaw's a beast. He knows what he's doing. So here we go. I hope you all are ready for the new and quote-unquote improved bone dance. Wow. You'll love Fortnite and air horns. I think it's a funny thing though. It like, if nothing else, it marks a generational shift of the past 20 years. Sort of, in the original games, you have Insomniac thinking, what are kids gonna find cool or like funny? Like, I know, a skeleton that dances to disco music and does backflips. That's cool. And then 20 years later, you have Toys for Bob thinking the same thing, and they're like, the floss. Kids love that in Fortnite. Air horns. So, you know, I think it's interesting, at the very least. Yeah, so now we have 2 orbs that a lot of people are probably very familiar with if they played this game as a kid. Dinos 1 and Dinos 2. So I think these orbs were pretty notorious in the original. A lot of people found this difficult. If you were speedrunning the game, it wasn't really that difficult because you could very easily learn the pattern. But if you were just playing the game casually, I know a lot of people had trouble with it. But I'm pretty sure that they made it significantly easier in this version. I feel like the dinosaurs move a lot slower, and you have more time to figure out like where you have to go next. They're lizards, not dinos. Oh dear. After I called out people for calling lava toads lizards, now I'm calling lizards dinos. How could I? Alright, so now we're buying the second ability in this game, the climbing ability. Fortnite 2. Oh dear, I wish I hadn't read that comment. Okay, into Scorch. Now, right before this run, Shaw and I were chatting, and he said he was worried about a particular challenge in this level, because it's been giving him some trouble lately. I didn't read your compliment. Wow, thanks back. Appreciate it. Okay, so there are 2 orb challenges in this level, and I can tell you that this is not the one that Shaw was worried about. Although this challenge is significantly slower now, I'm not sure why they did that. It takes Hunter so long to get from one tree to another. So the challenge is that Hunter has to capture these 6 monkeys that are up in trees, but while he's holding the barrel, he can't knock the tree. How's he going to do it? So you have to follow him around and charge into the trees to knock the monkeys out. But for whatever reason, they decided that Hunter just needs to walk incredibly slowly. You try carrying that barrel. It's got 3 monkeys in it. About to have 4. So, you know, once the snooze fest is over, we can continue the rest of the level. Yeah, that's 1 orb down. I'm sure plenty of you know what the other orb is. Yeah, this is another level, by the way, that suffers from... in the original, we would just sort of skip to the end. So the other challenge is at the end of the level, and it sort of makes you work backwards through the level. So for that reason, it's beneficial to just get to the end quickly, and then while you're doing that challenge, while you're making your way through the level, you can just I don't know where that sentence was going. I actually just forgot the last few words that I said. But yeah, ideally you'd want to skip to the end of the level and then work your way backwards through it. But as of right now, we don't have a skip straight to the end of the level. You can skip from the first room up to the area with the rocket bottles, which you'll see in a bit. But you still need to do another jump, or there would need to be another skip to get into this final area, which we currently don't have. So again, leaving more stuff because he knows that he's gonna come back round here. And he can get that stuff later. Okay, so with 20 enemies, you unlock this fireball power-up. And once you have it, you can go hunt down the Flag Keeper. Now, if you played the originals, you'll know that the Flag Keeper was Bombo, and he was very clearly just an Arabian-looking man in a turban, and he threw explosives at you. And so, with 20 years of cultural, media, I don't know, progress, I don't know what the word would be. Obviously, attitudes have changed since the 90s, and apparently an Arab-looking man wearing a turban throwing bombs at you, called Bombo, was deemed not very appropriate for a kid's game. So now he is no longer Bombo, the Flag Keeper, he is Bob, the Flag Keeper. And instead of looking like an Arabian man in a turban, he looks like some sort of demon. Looks kind of creepy. It's PC correctness, political correctness. Come on, Shaw, you can do it. Nice, alright. Yeah, so the way that this challenge works is that each time I'm going to call him Bombo, even though he's Bob. Okay, I'm going to call him Bombo because I've always known him as Bombo. Bombo gets placed a little further back through the level, closer to the beginning. And so it would be beneficial. Oh no, sure. At least it was like the very first bomb. Yeah, so it would be very beneficial if you could just get to the end of the level, start this challenge, and then pick up all the remaining gems as you chased Bombo through the level. No, sure. Oh my god. Yeah, so I will vouch for sure on this, that they pretty drastically changed how Bombo works, like how he throws bombs. In the original, he tended to throw them sort of where you were, so you could like stand on like the left side, wait for him to throw a bomb, and then move to the right side. And you could sort of play around where he was going to throw the bombs, but that seems to be much less the case in this version. He just sort of throws bombs, and you don't really have a whole lot of time to get out of the way. So I feel like it's going to be some time before people are really going properly fast through there. But yeah, that was the rocket bottle area, by the way. That's where you can skip up to with a simple jump, glide, hover. But unfortunately, I tested this a couple days ago. If you do the skip from that first room up to the rocket bottle area and skip half the level, Bombo doesn't keep chasing you. He just stays where he is. He waits for you to get back to him, which is unfortunate. So there's no way really to cut down on this Bombo chase. Alright, sure, you can do it. You're right at the end. Yeah, so the best tactic really for avoiding Bombo is just staying at the outside of this section. It seems like his bombs just don't go that far. Did Shaw get the talisman? I'm not sure if he spoke to Greta and got the talisman. And I guess he has no way to tell me either, because he's no mic. Yeah, he didn't get the talisman. Oh my god, sure. I was wondering, like, every time he ran past Greta, I was like, is he just gonna get it, like, at the end? After he's done with the challenge? Yeah, so for the record, Shaw is in the voice channel. He can hear me. But he's just no mic. So it's good knowing that I can say stuff like that. I guess this is a good demonstration of like the best that we have to like an end of level skip in Scorch. So you skip up to the rocket bottle area, come down here, and then you have to flame this button. Unfortunately, we have no way to skip this drawbridge just yet. He was probably so focused on not failing Bombo, he just forgot to get the talisman. So this is a speedrun. Going fast. Hey, 100% level complete. Good job, Shaw. Proud of you. It's not silver. I was requested to check that the other day. It doesn't happen. Which is a little disappointing. Oh really? Super Dawn. That is interesting. I did not know that. It still sucks that you have to go around that middle room and flame the button to bring the drawbridge down to begin with, but it's good to know that the others open up. Okay, so now we are in Fracture Hills. And to get the talisman in this level, you have to free these 6 satyrs that are trapped in stone. And with each one, they play a song which somehow destroys a bunch of rock that's covering up the talisman room. And so right now, I mean, maybe it will change later on, but right now, there's no way to get to the talisman room without freeing all the satyrs. So that's what Shaw's going to be doing. But this level is one that requires a revisit. So there's one orb in this level that you need Head Bash for, and you don't get Head Bash until Winter Tundra, which is the 3rd homeworld. So you can't 100% this level in one visit. It's just not possible right now. So because Shaw is going to be coming back here later, he's deliberately going to leave a bunch of gems and stuff behind, because he's just going to get those on a 2nd visit. Also, I'm really glad you pointed that out, Ben. So everyone knows that Fracture Hills is that Scottish level. Like, it's Scotland, right? But for whatever reason, the Fawns have Irish accents, and I don't like it. I don't understand why they did that. It's very confusing. That's a good question, Lucas. I noticed that in Spyro 3, Sergeant Bird's base and Enchanted Towers are different now. Like, they had the same music in the original, but now, like, it's the same tune. It's like, I don't know, like, actual musical terms. It's the same sort of melody or whatever, but, like, they're, like, in different instruments or something. I don't know. They sound different to each other, which is cool. So I don't know if they did the same thing for Idle Springs and Fracture Hills. But yeah, that's the first visit of Fracture. He's just going to go in, get the talisman, and get out. Because that's all he needs to progress to Winter Tundra. And so he'll pick up the orbs on the 2nd visit. And now we're heading into Magma Cone. So I'm thinking about it right now, and anytime that I've watched Shaw do 100% runs of this, I feel like I've just never really seen Magma Cone. So I'm not entirely sure, like, what really goes on in this level. Yeah, it looks like he's going to start off with Popcorn 1 and 2. I'm sure plenty of you are familiar with this challenge. In fact, real talk for a second, I really like the updated music for Popcorn. It sounds pretty cool. So the gist of this challenge is that on the ground, oh my god, Shaw, can you not give me epilepsy, please? Yeah, so along the floor you'll see these smoke trails, and as they travel from like the cracks in the ground, yeah, thanks, Shaw. They'll show you where little popcorn pieces will pop out of the ground. So you look for the smoke trails, you follow them, and then you go to the next sort of point along and collect the popcorn. So it's a game between you and Hunter to see who can get to 10 first. And then once you complete that, you do it again, except this time it's first to 15, and Hunter is a lot quicker. So he moves quicker, he waits less time to swing to pick up the popcorn as well. But apart from that, it's just the same thing twice, really. So I think I remember people talking about how they had trouble with this as a kid. Or even in speedruns, for that matter. And I think the biggest thing to like realize is that you can use sound to your advantage. just because you don't see any popcorn pieces or any smoke trails, it doesn't mean there aren't any near you. You can listen out for the puffs of like smoke or whatever. And so as long as you keep an ear out, then you should be able to find popcorn pieces pretty easily. Alright, so that's popcorn done. Gonna head out of this icy volcano. I don't think I ever questioned why that's icy in there. I'm not really sure why it is, but you know, here we are. That's not necessarily the fastest strat, Metal Slime Hunt, but it definitely gets the job done. Oh my god, did Shaw just deliberately let that Earth Shaper smash down on the basket with his hammer? That was pretty cool. I did not know that could happen. So for the meantime, this is just going to be a lot of running around collecting gems. The next challenge isn't until the end of the level, where he also gets the talisman. And I guess I'll say that in the original, you know, thanks to double jumping, we could very easily skip into the talisman area, the volcano section. And you could skip having to climb up the volcano. There are a bunch of ladders on the volcano and you have to climb up them. But because of double jumping and going out of bounds, we could skip that. But alas, we can't do that in this version. So Shaw is going to have to do the unthinkable and pay money bags to use this elevator. Although I did see yesterday, I think it was, someone found a skip. Oh, that was really cool. Damn, I've not seen that. So Shaw hopped on the elevator to make it start going down, but then he hopped off it and collected the gems. And so instead of waiting for the elevator to sort of go low enough so that he could get down, he used that time to get gems instead. That's pretty cool. Good job, Shaw. So yeah, there's how you get the talisman. Climb the volcano, shut the lid. Although interesting, Nerf Rip, if any of you know him, he showed that if you use this power-up, the flight power-up, and you just go straight to the NPC who gives you the talisman, even if you don't close the lid on the volcano, you can still get the talisman. So if at some point we find a way to get in here and not climb up to the Superfly in the first place, then that would be really cool. In the original, you had to close the lid on the volcano. You couldn't just speak to the talisman guy. Good comments in chat. Hey, I said that Magma Cone was just one of the levels I haven't really seen. Yeah, so for this challenge, because I've been trying to like talk about what the challenges are and what you have to do for them, but I just sort of forget a lot. So, you know, apologies for the poor objective commentary at Silver. But yeah, for this challenge, which I thought was called Party Poopers for the longest time, and I now know it's actually called Party Crashers. These lava monster things appear, and you have to use these molten rocks to spit at them and kill them. So it's just a case of managing your flight power-up and knowing where the rocks are. And with that done, Shaw's just gonna destroy these last few balloons, release some gems, and that should be end of the level. Yeah, maybe it's called Party Poopers on PAL, because that's what me and Pete would have played. I'm pretty sure it's Party Crashers in this version, though. Alright, so another level that you have to pay money bags to open up. Shady Oasis. I just realized now, actually, there's no cutscene anymore for watching the bridge open. In the original, when you paid money bags, you would have to sit and watch a cutscene of the bridge extending and the doors opening. But that's gone now. That's cool. Thanks, Toys for Bob. And just like Fracture Hills, this is another level where you need Head Bash for one of the challenges. So it's impossible to 100% this on the first visit. And so for that reason, Shaw's going to leave some stuff, and he'll come back and get it on the revisit. Right, let's talk about Shorty, the hippo here, fat boy up ahead. So in the original, this level was notorious for being an escort mission. You had to sort of babysit Shorty as he ran through the level. He had various checkpoints. And you had to flame these bushes so that a berry falls down, he eats the berry, he becomes big, and then he takes out these doors for you. You know, it was okay. But now, for some reason, Toys for Bob went like absolutely insane with the amount of checkpoints needed to make sure that he keeps moving. So if you run ahead of Shorty, even just like a tiny bit, he'll just stop and then he waits for you to come back. And it completely kills the pacing of this level. I don't know why they did that in the slightest. It's a very bizarre choice to me. Like, it was already the only level in the game where you had to escort. I guess the Alchemist challenge is similar. That's not really an escort though, he just like does his own thing. But yeah, it was already the only level where the person who gives you the talisman, you have to escort them through the level. And then they just went like nuts with checkpoints. I think I heard from someone that you don't have to use a rock to hit that tree. You can get a precise like hover and flame. But I've not seen it done. So. Alright, so this is the one orb that you will see done on the first visit. These lamp thieves. So there are 3 of them throughout the level. And you just have to chase them down and kill them. And you get a lamp from them. Yep, so the first one is just back here, and Shaw is going to be using this green rock, because the thieves are fast in this version, definitely faster than in the original. So you really don't want to let them get away and have to chase them down. So he's going to use a rock for this second thief as well. And then that hippo, yeah, I was wondering if that hippo was going to talk to Shaw or not. That's the other orb in this level, but you need Head Bash for it, so. Alright, so that's all 3 lamp thieves. And then the rest of the Oh, he's gonna get some more gems. Right, so he's gonna finish the mystery jar. Yeah, that makes sense. He's gonna continue chasing the mystery jar down and get all the relevant gems along the way. And so, like I said before, the mystery jar tends to work its way through the level, and then it'll end up somewhere near the beginning. So by the end of this, Jaw's gonna appear back at the beginning of the game. Beginning of the game? Beginning of the level? That's... yeah, that's totally what I meant to say. So far, no. No one's found anything particularly interesting with riding rockets. Alright, there we go. Shady Oasis. Done. Yeah, you chase the mystery jar and it takes you back to Glimmer. Imagine that, a mystery jar that starts in like Metropolis in the final level. And then it takes you to Robotica and then Cloud Temples. You have to go through every level in the game. Chase this one jar down. Alright, so Speedway number 2. Icy Speedway. This one costs 100 gems from Moneybags. So, not only are Speedways kind of annoying and control not great in this game, you have to pay to access this one as well. So in this one, you've got 8 Eskimos, 4 of which are on gliders, 4 of which are on snowmobiles, 8 archers, 8 skaters, and then 8 sea monsters. And actually, speaking of the sea monsters, I think they look really cool. I like what they've done. So, good job, Toys for Bob. What are you saying about the loading times, Paul? Shaw's on an SSD. Like, Shaw has the fastest loads of like anyone I've seen playing this game. So if you think these are bad loads, then you know. Skill point. What a lad, Shaw. 2 speedways he's done so far, and he got the skill point on both of them. So fast. Alright, so now that he's done that time attack, it's time for the Hunter Challenge. So this one is sort of similar to Ocean in that you have to fly through rings, but now you're on the back of Hunter's snowmobile, and you just hold left or right, depending on where the rings are. So I have a couple of comments about this. Firstly, in the original, this was all water. Well, in the time attack as well, like if you saw just a minute ago, all of this was water, but for some reason now, in this Hunter Challenge, it freezes over, it's all snow, which I don't really understand. It's weird. And also, one of these rings coming up, I swear you can like hold left too much. So I think it was a ring, it was like around 40-ish. There's a ring on the left, and intuition says that you should be able to just hold like left completely. And like you're not gonna go like too far left to miss the ring, but I had that happen to me twice. So I thought that was weird. Yeah, he was always on a snowmobile, but it was water, definitely. Before. So yeah, that's the second speedway down. And the third one, Metro Speedway, is not long to come. Gonna take a quick visit. Quick. Quick is not a word I would use to describe Zephyr. But we're gonna take a quick visit to Zephyr before that. Hello, Phoenix. Phoenix says good luck, Shaw. Wow, look at this view, isn't it so pretty? Gorgeous. Outstanding. Beautiful. So there's the long glide. You get that orb just sitting there on the island. And now we're off to Zephyr. Alright, so Zephyr is a level that has a mystery jar in it. And the mystery jar is quite literally placed at the very end of the level. Like, it's probably like the furthest possible point from the start. Like, if you were to run through the level. So Shaw's going to leave a bunch of stuff behind. Because he knows that he's going to have to come back through here to get the mystery jar. So we can get all that stuff later. Right now, the important thing is to just make his way through the level and get the mystery jar started. So I guess the gimmick to Zephyr is having to use these cannons to destroy a bunch of stuff. So here's the talisman, the ruby bomb, and now Shaw is going to get started on herding some cowlicks, I believe. He's gonna embrace his inner farmer, live the rural life. But he's also gonna interweave it with this seeds challenge. So up above, there are a bunch of platforms, and there are 2 orbs available for completing a bunch of platforming challenges involving these seeds. So you take a seed, you plant it in one of the available spots on the ground, and then it grows a beanstalk. So then you can use that as a platform to get somewhere else. And so I have seen today, actually, some interesting skips where you don't need to use all the seeds, but I'm not sure if Shaw is familiar with them, since everything, you know, changing constantly. Game's only been out for like 5 days. Yeah, I've heard mixed results from charging cowlicks. Which I'm not sure if I mentioned properly. Yeah, so with cowlicks, you want to herd them all into a pen, which is below the talisman room. So there are 7 of them scattered around. There are 5 scattered in sort of the main area and this seed area, and then there are 2 extra ones in the last area where the mystery jar is. Nice. So Shaw just skipped using one of the seeds there. That's a pretty good jump. I think he skipped using a seed somewhere else as well, and I just didn't mention it because I was too busy yapping. But yeah, that's the 2 orbs for the seeds platforming. One from the professor, one from Juliet. Speaking of Juliet, I want to point out that in the original, Juliet's voice, it sounded like, I'm assuming it was a man trying to like sound like a woman, and I feel like they did that deliberately, like that's the effect that they were going for. But in this version, it's like just very clearly a woman, and you know, that disappoints me. I feel like they missed something. I thought it was funny the way Juliet sounded before. Oh my god, why did the Calyx do that? The Calyx behave really weirdly when going over that gap. Where did that Calyx go? God, Calyx are so weird. What? It just warped up to the top. Yeah, so that's what I was about to say. Calyx are really weird on that, like that gap. They almost have like a homing property. So it's sort of like if they enter a general area that's near that ledge, they just get warped to it. and it's really weird. They just sort of like teleport all over the place. And I've seen clips of people who either flame a Cowlick or they charge into it and it just vanishes. It just disappears. So we've got Cowlick despawns, we've got Cowlick teleports. And I myself, I've had Cowlicks get stuck like in the air. They'll just be floating. And I have to like get somewhere high and then like glide down to come get them. They're really weird. Also, I want to point out that they look kind of creepy now as well. Like, I want to say they look cute, generally. I think that is true. But then you look at their dead, soulless eyes, and it's like, holy shit, man. It's creepy. Alright, so we're coming up to the end of Cowlick's wall. Lost my voice for a second there or something. Alright, first 5 Cowlicks in. That's the first orb. And now Shaw has to go get the other 2 Cowlicks, which are up this ladder. Yeah, so to make them go high enough to get up here, you need the fireball. In fact, I'm not entirely sure if you need fireball. I think I've seen them go high enough without, but probably best just to use the fireball. Also, the eagles or whatever dropping bombs in this section are a nightmare. They're so annoying. I'm not surprised that Shaw's getting destroyed by them. How'd that Cowlick bounce backwards? Shaw's determined to teach that bird a lesson. Alright, so I'm gonna get that. Oh, has he already hit the mystery jar? I wasn't paying attention. Also, why was there a 1 on top of that pedestal? There should be a 25 gem up there. Oh my god. Oh dear. Poor Shaw. Time to hurt those Cowlicks again. And like I said, these birds are a nightmare. It's really annoying. No, Shaw. Alright, nice. Okay, those birds are no more. Hey look, I'm like actually right this time. We're gonna get that mystery jar started. I didn't miss that the first time. Alright, sure, can you get this Cowlick to go where you want him to go? Alright, nice. He's trying to turn around. Dear me. Yeah, Cowlicks are certainly they can be really annoying. Or, you know, they can just despawn or teleport somewhere. Nice. Cowlicks herded. Okay, so with that done, Shaw can now go back through the level and chase the mystery jar down. And so he's also going to pick up all the remaining gems that he left behind the first time he came through here. Oh, I saw Shaw do that. I don't know if it was earlier today or yesterday. But I saw him like chasing after that barrel that was rolling. And he tried to jump over it. He got stuck in the doorway. And this time he tried to flame it. And he still got caught in the explosion. It seems really awkward to deal with when that happens. Alright, just giving up, trying to hover onto that ledge. Alright, almost back at the beginning of the level now. Clean up that mystery jar. Oh nice, that enemy just killed the fodder. How kind. Nice, not missing anything, that's good. That would have been a nightmare if he was missing a gem. Zephyr is just one of those levels where if you miss a gem, it's, you know, goodbye lots of time. So I believe we have Metro Speedway and then one more level left to complete in Autumn Plains. That level being Breeze Harbor. Oh, I don't know what Shaw's going for here. Does he know that he's not done Metro Speedway yet? Yeah, so in the original, you don't have to run along this wall to get that orb. So you would just do Breeze Harbor much earlier in the homeworld, but because you have to use the wall in this version, it makes sense to go to Breeze from Zephyr, because you can get onto the wall very easily from Zephyr. Alright, so Metro Speedway. What is it? Pigeons, bungee jumpers, arches, and people holding slow signs. And since this is a speedrun, Shaw's very much against people telling him to go slow. So he's gonna wipe them out with a swift flame. Nice, going pretty clean so far. Oh, that was unfortunate. Wow, did these signs not say slow in this version? In the original they say slow on them. But I guess they just have exclamation marks now. That's disappointing. I thought there was something quite poetic about... Oh no, sure, don't! Alright, cool. Skill point again! He's got the skill point on all 3 speedways so far. What a lad. But yeah, I thought it was quite poetic. Taking out people holding slow signs. Wow, nice pigeon bonk. That's true, Zawa, that is true. So this is the Hunter Challenge for Metro Speedway. There are these 12 cat burglars who are trying to steal treasure. And Hunter is going to zap them with his laser gun. And then you have to pick up the treasure that they drop. Pretty straightforward really, and there isn't a whole lot you can do to speed it up, as far as I'm aware. In the original you could abuse supercharging on various ledges, and it would make Hunter go slightly faster because of rubber banding. but I'm not sure if that's a thing in Reignited. Oh my god, sure. Is he gonna be okay? Jesus, that was too close for No! No, I thought he had it. Oh, that's tragic. Can I get an F in the chat, please? Rip and dip. Sure. Alright, well, you can see this challenge twice now. He's gonna ace it this time, though. Really, Ben? Damn, that sucks. You're gonna go make lunch at 1:30 in the morning. Nice. Good job, Shaw. You did the Metro Speedway Hunts Challenge. I'm proud of you. Alright, so now we're gonna head off to Breeze Harbor, which is probably my favorite level in Spyro 2 Reignited so far, because I think it has the coolest stuff like going on. I'm not sure if any of the stuff is used in 100%. Nice, that's everything in the home world. That's good. But yeah, I think Breeze is pretty cool in Reignited. Apart from the invisible walls, where no fun is allowed, there should be, like, skips that we can do in this level. Like, if you, like, just look at the distances, like, jumps should be possible. But Toys for Bob decided they were going to put invisible walls everywhere. So those jumps are not possible, and it's a shame. But there are still some cool things. I haven't found anything for collecting gears as Spyro yet, no. So one of the orbs in this level is to destroy 8 floating mines, and you have to do that using these cannons scattered throughout the level. So you don't have to talk to an NPC or anything to like get the challenge started. They're just there. You can just get them from the beginning, which is nice. And I guess the main gimmick of this level is the fire pits. So you have these piles of logs occasionally throughout the level, and if you flame them, something happens. So some sort of machinery, like these boats, will be active, or you raise the water level like earlier on. And so there is a skip to all of this. So where the first cannon was, it turns out you can climb on one of the windows on the wall. Like the top of the window has collisions, you can stand on it and then you can jump from there onto another ledge, and then you can jump onto the tracks for the trolley. And from there you can jump to the end of the level, you can go straight to the boat and get the talisman. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was useful for 100%. But I guess that just hasn't been like rooted in yet. Oh, sure, I'm disappointed in you. So I found a skip for this catapult, and yet here Shaw is using the catapult while I'm commentating his run. Disgraceful, really. Also, this guy's really annoying to chase down. I don't know if those bucket guys move faster now than in the original, but I found that just chasing that guy down was more awkward than I thought it should have been. You still can fate. You can still get the two mines further away, like with the first cannon. Alright, so we got a cheeky death abuse. It's probably the first one in the route. Here, I believe Shaw is going to go tackle everyone's favorite, the trolley. I'm sure everyone loves this challenge. Also, wow, I'm disappointed that Shaw didn't do that first little loop. Like, immediately. I feel like it's slower to leave it till the end. But hey, this is like day 5 of the game being out. It's not like anyone like actually knows what's fast or not. We're still working it all out. Yeah, I just saw my DMs, Phoenix. I got you. Man, are we gonna hear the dreaded voice line? Or is Shaw gonna be a beast? And get this challenge done first try. It's looking pretty good so far. We got a surprise sponsor. It's Mountain Dew and Doritos. Nice, okay, so we did the trolley first try. No problems, because Shaw's a beast, you know. He doesn't struggle with things like that. He's just too good. So now he's gonna finish up this mines challenge. And when he's destroyed the last one, he'll get warped back. Get that orb. Nice, and that is Breeze Harbor done. Yeah, alright, Dact. I tried to, you know, brush over that. I want to give Shaw some credit. Okay, so that's Autumn Plains done. That's all the levels. At least the first visit of each of the levels. He still has to revisit Fracture Hills and Shady Oasis. But now, it's time for everyone's favorite Spyro 2 boss, Gulp. And if you thought Gulp was difficult or annoying in the original game, I was going to say in the first game, in the original game, then wow, wait until you fight him in Reignited. So for starters, when you flame a barrel in the original, that would push the barrel in the direction that you flamed it, which was good because you could like set yourself up to get double hits or whatever. But now flaming barrels does nothing. You can't move them, so you're stuck with whatever pattern it gives you. And also, it seems that collision is incredibly dodgy, as demonstrated by that first barrel hit. It seems like you should be able to just hit it in a straight line, but it likes to veer off in random directions. Bombs are kind of annoying as well. They like to bounce around, so you'll flame them, they launch off in a direction, and then they just have to bounce around and maybe not even hit gold. And my biggest gripe with this fight in Reignited is that the camera constantly like snaps down to the ground. I feel like it's trying to get you and Gulp in view at the same time, but that mostly just results in it snapping to the ground, and it's incredibly annoying. You can't really see what you're doing. But yeah, as demonstrated here, if it goes to plan, yeah, double hits are still a thing. So you can still hold a rocket in your mouth and then charge a barrel first before shooting the rocket to get a double hit, or you can use a bomb and then pick up a rocket or something. I'm not sure if you can get double hits with just barrels or a bomb in a barrel. I haven't really played this fight too much because I don't really want to, because it's very unenjoyable. Personally, I think so. But yeah, I'm sure some testing will be done with this soon. And yeah, Gulp seems to move faster as well, which is kind of annoying when he's chasing you down. So for the most part, this fight is sort of similar to the original, like how you go about handling it. You can do that strat of spinning in circles around Gulp to keep him preoccupied, because as long as Gulp is turning like this, as long as he's shuffling his feet around like that, he can't do anything. He's not going to run off and pick up weapons to use against you. He's not going to shoot his cannons. So if you can keep him distracted like this, then that gives you the time needed to do stuff. Oh my god, Shaw, can you get the last barrel? Oh, he did it. He got the skill point as well. Oh, what a beast. He's so good at this game, Shaw. Yeah, Gulp could definitely eat chickens in the original and restore health. That's not a new thing in this game. Alright, so Winter Tundra, the third homeworld. Right now, Shaw is going to buy Head Bash for 1,000 gems. It's a pretty costly investment. But with that, he can now go back to Fracture Hills and Shady Oasis later down the line to clear up those levels. So this is an interesting bit of routing that I suggested to Shaw. So what he's doing, he's picking up all the gems on the way to Cloud Temples. So in this, tucked away in this little tunnel at the side of Winter Tundra, normally, so in the original, we would stick to like one side of the tunnel, clear out like the left side of it or right side, whichever, on the way to Cloud Temples, and then on the way back, you clear out the other side. So you clear out the whole tunnel. But this time, Shaw's gone and cleared out the whole tunnel on the first pass through, because he's actually not going to go through that tunnel again. At the end of Cloud Temples, instead of exiting back to Winter Tundra, he's going to use the new warping or fast travel, whatever you want to call it, that Reignited lets you do, and he's going to go back to Summer Forest to get some gems and a couple orbs that he couldn't get on the first pass. So that's pretty cool. Like right now, this is like my favorite thing about the 100% route for Reignited versus the original. So it's cheating. Yeah, sure. Also, Cloud Temples is one of my favorite levels in Spyro 2, and I think it looks really nice in Reignited. Just want to say that. I guess I'll say, if you're not familiar, the main gimmick of the level is that these warlocks have stolen the inhabitants' magic wands, and they've put up these doors, or barriers, I guess. So you have to kill the warlocks, so that the inhabitants can get their wands back and let you through. Also, Winter Tundra doesn't have talismans, so talismans are only a thing at the end of the level in Summer Forest levels and Autumn Plains levels. Once you get to Winter Tundra, the NPCs just give you orbs for reaching the end of the level. So, no more talismans to collect. Oh yeah, so this is the only instance in the game of the ice power-up. And I don't know about you, but I think Spyro's color scheme looks pretty cool with that. So this is an interesting strat. Shaw picked up a rock from one of those purple goat things. I don't really know what they are. And for whatever reason, rocks that you can spit in this game just fly like for miles. You shoot them and the gravity almost doesn't affect them. Like it does affect them, they drop a little bit, but not a whole lot. So he used that to his advantage to shoot a rock right up to the top and just get the last bell first. And then he can get the other 2 bells the normal way, freezing these trolls. Is he gonna be able to make that? Oh, with a hover he should be able to. Oh no. Come on, Shaw. Hey, there we go. Oh, and he just froze that last one in time. Dang. That's close. Yeah. So now he's going to head back up here, because there are gems to collect, and there's also a rocket that he needs to set off to break open a metal chest. Unfortunately, he's going to have to wait for the ice power-up to run out, because as long as you have the ice power-up, you can't breathe fire to light the rocket. So we could really do with a skip to get up to this rocket without using the ice breath. But so far, no one really knows how to do that. So there's the rocket blowing up the metal chest, picking up those gems nice and clean. And now it's time for Agent Zero. So this big lumbering buffoon is going to try and sneak his way into his secret hideout. And we've got to stalk him and gather intel on what's going on. So we've got to hide behind these trees or around corners, you know. Whatever works. And there are a bunch of gems to collect along the way. Oh, noted, Lucas. In fact, I'll just say, sure, someone in chat thinks you missed a 1 gem where the second warlock is. So if you are missing a gem, check there. Cool. Alright, so that's Agent Zero. We managed to follow him, get into his secret hideout. He thinks we're a member, so he's going to give us this orb, which he claims is a communication device or something. Alright, so he wasn't missing a gem, that was good. And as you saw, he used the guidebook to warp back to Summer Forest. So not only does this cut a load out from going from Cloud Temples to Winter Tundra, but it also just takes him straight to where he needs to go. So now, everything that's off to the left of Glimmer, including this water, Shaw can just nice and cleanly pick up. Since if you warp to a homeworld using the guidebook, it puts you right at the beginning of the homeworld. So it's just convenient. He could have got this stuff on the first visit, because he had swim, so he could have done this, but it just works out really nicely to sort of carve a path out for yourself, since you have to spawn at the beginning anyway. And then once he's climbed the ladder to get the other orb and the last few gems, I believe he's going to warp to Fracture Hills or Shady Oasis. Could do it either way, doesn't matter. So this is the orb that you have to revisit for, because right now we don't have a way to get up to the top of this ladder without climb, which you get in Autumn Plains. So there we go, that's Summer Forest 100%. Now we're going to warp to Fracture Hills. We're going to clear this level out. So personally, I think this is really cool compared to the original. If everything about Reignited was the same as the original, then, you know, the speedrun would be no different. Like, you might as well just play the original. But stuff like this, like being able to warp the levels, you know, having cool route differences, I think that's That's a good thing. Yeah, so for this pass of the level, Shaw needs enemies, because there's a supercharge power-up that requires 14 enemies, so he's going to be killing all these enemies along the way. And I believe there are 11 non-Earth Shaper enemies, so he's going to kill all of those. That's just a regular tree, sure. Oh, there are 12 non-Earth Shaper enemies, yeah. So he's going to kill all of those, and then 2 Earth Shapers. And you want to minimize the number of Earth Shapers you have to kill, really, since it's a bit cumbersome. Oh. So this is, I wouldn't call it precise exactly, but it's kind of awkward to get this jump. Yeah, there we go, to carry the supercharge to this chest. And again, it gets me every time. I feel like it's so weird that you just get given all of the gems in one go when you supercharge a chest like that. It's so weird. I don't like it. Please change that at Toys for Bob. Nice. So instead of taking the supercharge all the way around the level and following the intended path, Shaw just did some fancy jumps there. Break that fawn out. So I don't know if Shaw's going to do this because it's a relatively new thing, but you can despawn. Okay, yeah, Shaw's definitely doing it. So it turns out if you start the Alchemist, oh, I guess he wasn't quick enough. I think you need to bonk the first Earth Shaper, Shaw. I think you have to push him at least once. Yeah, so for whatever reason, when you get too far away from the Alchemist, he just seems to despawn, like nothing happens to him. So Shaw's deliberately running away so that the Alchemist despawns, and he's going to run back, and then the game just thinks that you've completed the Alchemist challenge. I think this is by far the biggest sort of glitch type skip that we've found. Like, it's not just a fancy jump, it's not just some like unintended or like out of bounds whatever. It's like just a full-on like abuse of what the game wants to do. I don't know how to put it into words, really. Yeah, it's extremely strange, but it's really cool. And so I was messing around with that earlier today. I'm trying to find some routing applications for it. But yeah, so back to this challenge. Once you've apparently escorted the Alchemist to Hunter, Hunter suggests that you go and kill all the Earth Shapers in this area with him. So he shocks them with his electric arrows, even though they're rock, and I'm not quite sure rock conducts electricity. But you know, he shocks them and then you get to head bash them. And so that's why you need head bash, because you can't, well, you just can't start the challenge otherwise. But yeah, you wouldn't be able to do the challenge either. So now he's going to round up the last few gems. And I guess he's missing gems somewhere. Oh, right, yeah, okay. He hasn't done this lower section. Yeah, I forgot about this. So he's just going to clear out this lower area. And then there should be some more gems just up here. A basket or two, some 1 gems. There's the basket, there's the 1 gems. Is that everything? That is everything, nice. So now we're going to warp to Shady Oasis and finish that level off. Silver, can you read? He said fighting, not flying. Yeah, so unfortunately, even though Shaw's already gone through Shady Oasis once and guided Shorty to the end, he has to do it again on the second visit. And combined with the babysitting problem that I highlighted before, it's just incredibly sluggish. But this does give Shaw a chance to pick up more gems along the way. That's an interesting theory, Drashed. I like that. Someone get on that. Can we despawn Shorty? Just like run away, despawn him, run back, and he's magically at the end. Wouldn't that be great? So I guess I should say, for the Head Bash challenge in this level, you need 18 enemies for the invincibility power-up, because the challenge takes place over some green goop that will damage you and kill you normally. Oh, and in fact, yeah, Shaw doesn't need to take Shorty all the way to the end, just far enough so that he can get 18 enemies. So that's nice. So for this challenge, for some reason, the hippos are trapped in stone and they're flying out a sewage pipe? Question mark? And you have to free them by head bashing them. Interesting challenge. So that's the orb, and now it's just a case of clearing up the last few gems in this level. So there's this head bash crate that you can't get on the first pass because you don't have head bash, and then should just be some loose gems lying around. Oh, and he didn't get the metal chest on the first visit, right? Oh, missing gems. Oh no. That doesn't seem good. Yeah, it seems like the gem is just somewhere around the level. I don't think it's over here, sure. Is it? Oh, okay. It's these gems. Let's hope he's not missing anything else. Nice, okay. Yeah, that would have been awful if the gems were elsewhere. But yeah, so that's the revisits done. You do one revisit to Summer Forest, one to Fracture Hills, one to Shady Oasis, and now he's back in Winter Tundra. And so with Cloud Temples already done, off in that tunnel, just off to the side, he can just focus on Mystic Marsh and like clearing out the rest of this little outside area. Also, that was really weird, I've not noticed that before. The Head Bash rock. In the original, you really had to get like above the rock and head bash it. Otherwise the game just wouldn't let you break it. But it seems like in this version it's really lenient. Alright, so the big thing about this level that pretty much defines the route is the trading challenge for the professor. So the professor starts by giving you an egg, and you have to progressively trade that egg for different items until you end up with the professor's pencil. And so each item has a specific place that it needs to go. So when you get the egg, you have to take it to a bird's nest. You put the egg in, and then the bird comes along and gives you a seed. And so then the seed belongs in a plant pot. And when you plant it, the plant grows, the plant spits out a turnip. And then you have to take that turnip, you have to put it in a cauldron, and then you have to take the coin that comes out of the cauldron and put that into the fountain, which then gives you the pencil. And you have to take that pencil back to the professor. So because you have to do all those things in such a specific order, it pretty much like defines the route for you. So Shaw hasn't started the challenge yet. I don't think anyway, unless I just wasn't paying attention. No, okay, he's not started it yet. But once he's got this end of level orb, and he's cleared out some stuff, because he also needs enemies for a spring power up. I think it's 21 enemies. Oh, I forgot the duck! I forgot the duck! I'm sorry, everyone. Yeah, so you get a duck somewhere in there as well. I think the plant spits out the duck. You take the duck to the mother duck. And that's what gives you the turnip. And then the turnip goes in the cauldron. Yeah, cool. Thanks, everyone. Can you tell that it's been ages since I played Spyro 2? Anyway, yeah, so you have to kill enemies for the spring power-up to freely go up and down between the upper and lower parts of the level. And this challenge, there are 4 kangaroo thieves who have stolen spark plugs of all things to steal. And you gotta hunt them down. And I'm pretty sure that they are much faster and harder to chase down in Reignited than they were in the original. So I won't be surprised if Shaw sort of chases these thieves a lot. Yeah, alright, Silver, I played this game just today, but, you know. I haven't done the trading challenge in Marsh since a few days ago. Alright, nice. Finally got that thief. I think that's the one that really gives you the most trouble. The others aren't too bad. Yeah, so you can see you can take down that thief fairly quickly. He just runs in a circle anyway. And the first one you can get nicely before he even hops into the water to swim away. Wow, does that thief just like not run away from you? I swear I haven't seen that before. So that's one orb down. And now, I believe, Shaw is going to go start the trading challenge. So the professor's tucked away in this little hut. He's going to give you the egg. And now it's up to Spyro to figure out where the egg needs to go. What do you know? It goes in this bird's nest that's right up here. So there's the seed, which then goes in the big plant pot. Yeah, I'm gonna back you up on that, Drashed. I was talking about the trading challenge and how it defines the route, and like there's Shaw not doing the trading challenge at all. Just like doing whatever at any point. There's a lot of work that needs to be done for routing this category. I mean, routing this game in general. My god, how wide is Spyro's mouth while he's holding this duck? Hey, I messed up with the order of the things before, okay? But we're good now. So there's the duck, giving you the turnip. And now the turnip needs to go into the cauldron. Also, I want to take a moment to point out that snail elephant there, or snail elephant. When I was playing through this level the first time, I got that snail elephant stuck in a tree. Somehow it was raised off the ground, and it was like stuck in that tree that it was stood next to, just there. Yo, nice. Using the spring power up and charging into that balloon. That's pretty cool. Yeah, but unfortunately, at the time, I didn't know how to record stuff on PS4, so it went unrecorded. Rip in depth. I have a terrible quality picture on my phone though, if anyone wants to see it. Alright, sure, we're getting reports of a possible missed 2 gem. By the left jump platform thingy. I hope that means something to you. Yeah, alright, Ben. Nice, cool. There's the missing 2 gem. Thanks, Phoenix. This is a co-op speedrun. Sure, that's the coin! What are you doing? The coin goes in the fountain. Did you not listen to me? I love the way he shot the coin at the professor and just stood there for like 2 seconds. Like, go on then, take it. Comedy gold. Alright, Mystic Marsh is donezo. So I think now we're off to Metropolis, if I remember Shaw's route correctly. Yeah, okay. So I think a lot of people associate Metropolis with being the last level in the game, but it will not be the level that we are ending this speedrun on. Gotta head bash these elevators to make them work. I think the lore is that the mechanism is all faulty and you just have to give it a good whack to get it started. I think that's why you have to head bash them. I thought it was funny. But yeah, space cows, space pigs, sheep and UFOs as well at the end of the level. Pretty crazy this level. Sorry, faulty. This is not a call out. Alright, so I did notice that Shaw didn't fight the Ox just yet. So normally, earlier on in the level, Shaw would have gone off to the side and climbed a ladder, and there's an Ox who's on a little ice rink. You have to... He throws bombs at you and you have to flame them back at him. But I have heard that there is a strat. I've not seen it, but I've heard that there's a strat where you can take the fireball power up from this final room and you can take it to the Ox. And I think normally if you get too close to the Ox fight, it just strips the power up away from you to stop you from doing that. But I think there is a way you can work around that. But yeah, right now we're going to be destroying sheep in flying saucers. So we have fireball, we have flight. And you know, you just gotta blow up some sheep in flying saucers. Flying saucers, yeah, we've got ketchup, mayonnaise. Barbecue, everyone's favorite. Flying brown sauce. Yeah, so the first 3 apparently send out a distress signal that they're being attacked, and so 5 more come in afterwards. Nice bonk on the flying saucer. So this level's actually really good in any percent, because at the end of the level you get 3 orbs in very quick succession there. You get the end of level orb and then UFOs 1 and 2. You can do quite quickly. Yeah, I think the UFOs are kind of slow. Fireball is a bit weird in this game though, so it's not the easiest to land your shots. Wow, I love how Shaw went out of his way to fireball that cow. He just wants to murder them all. So rounding up some gems. There are a whole lot of them in this room. And then I believe once Shaw has collected all the gems in this room, he's gonna go recharge his power up. Yeah, he is. So maximize his time with Fireball and Flight. And now he's gonna head back to where the Ox fight is. And hopefully he gets this skip. Not really a skip, but hopefully he manages to actually use Fireball. No, okay. So it just stripped the power up away from him, which is unfortunate. Oh dang, that bomb hit. I didn't think he was going to make that work. So this challenge is definitely a little awkward. But I believe the strat is to just sort of go around in circles. So you approach the Ox from the front and flame the bomb, and then you loop around in a circle, and by the time you come back and you're facing the Ox again, he's going to throw another bomb at you. And I think that's the strat to kill him the quickest. But it's not the easiest. With ice being all slippery and stuff, you know? So now it's time for the last speedway. After some interesting stair climbing strats, which I'm still surprised are like actually kind of fast. It's funny. Alright, Canyon Speedway. Here we go. I don't have a timer on my end, by the way, so I don't know where we're at. But also, if someone were to tell me the time right now, it would mean nothing to me, because I don't have like timestamps memorized for this run yet. 232. Alright. Wow, did he just bonk the ceiling? Jesus Christ. Yeah, so we've got Canyon Speedway and Robotica Farms left to go. I feel like this is one of the speedways that could benefit most from a new route. It's like obviously going from the originals to Reignited. When it comes to the speedways, the intuitive thing to do is just try the route that's good on the originals and see how it fares in Reignited. But for most speedways, I feel like that's not the best thing to do. And I think this is one that could really benefit from a new route. Damn, he got the skill point again. He got the skill point on all 4 speedways. Sure is a speed man confirmed. Also, I saw Pete mention it ages ago, but supercharge having to like charge up in this game is just annoying. I don't know why they did that. you don't just have like instant max speed when you hit the ground. It has to build up a bit. Oh yeah, Shaw was telling me the other day. So normally you're supposed to just hold circle to shoot lasers in this. But if you mash circle, you can shoot way faster. Yeah, so there's just holding circle normally. And then if he mashes again. Yeah, it goes nuts. So, you know, if you just want to shoot lasers, have a good time, this is the challenge for you. Hey, so there's all the speedways done. And with only one main level left to go as well. Yeah, I almost mentioned that actually. The sound effect, the pew pew, is actually like cool in this game. It's not just a really annoying sound that grates on you. Oh, I only just noticed what Shaw's doing with headbash crates. He like jump charges and then head bashes out of that. I didn't realize you could head bash out of that. Alright, the last homeworld orb. I swear every time I watch Shaw he misses that. Sorry Shaw for calling you out, but like you always have to like double take to pick up that orb on the wall. Alright, last level, Robotica Farms. So for this level, there's a supercharge power-up that Shaw needs, and it takes 15 souls to get it going. So he's gonna make sure to kill 15 robot bugs on his journey through these farms. Oh, also this level has a mystery jar, so just like before, he's going to be leaving a bunch of stuff because he's going to have to come back here later anyway. I mean, you can ask if robots have souls, and according to this game, the answer is yes. Ooh, nice. That's good. So instead of killing all 4 bugs when he had the opportunity right there, he deliberately only killed 3 so that he could go off and get those vases and pick up the 1 gem that's on the bridge before killing the 4th one. Because if you just killed all 4 immediately, then it would warp you back to the NPC, and then you'd have to go out of your way to get the vases and the gems again. So that's some nifty routing. Oh my god, how did Shaw not get damaged by that? And then what? And then he did take damage from... That was dumb. Thanks, game. And I know it's technically spirit particles, but come on. Souls, man. Nice, through the windmill, easy peasy. There's 15 enemies, that's the supercharged power-up. Alright, that's the end of level orb. Easy peasy. Pick up a few more gems. And now it's time for supercharge. As well as getting that mystery jar started. Alright, can he get the 1 cycle? Can he get everything? He got the 3 vases. He got the 3 baskets. He got that basket. Can he get these 3 baskets as well? Oh, sure. That was looking so good. Oh man, that was really good though. So, interesting change between the original and Reignited. So in Spyro 2 and 3, in the originals, if you supercharge through a basket or a vase or something, the gems don't home in, they just pop out. And then you have to go collect them afterwards. But now in Reignited, when you supercharge through something, the gems home into you, so that's pretty cool. What? I'm just reading chat. I don't know what happened with delay there or something. I don't know, man. I have the game feed up on my monitor. I'm just saying stuff as I see it. But yeah, now's the time when he's going back through the level, following that mystery jar, picking up the stuff he missed earlier. And also, that's a nice little skip. In the original, you could just double jump up there, but now it turns out we can still get up there even without double jump. So those were the 2 baskets that Shaw missed on the supercharge. And this should be the end of the level. 400 out of 400, that's what we like to see. So all that remains is a few more gems in the homeworld, and then gonna fight Ripto. And if you're used to watching OG Spyro 2, I was gonna say 100% runs, but any category in Spyro 2, you'll be used to seeing Ripto just defeated so quickly with Fireball. More interesting stair climbing techniques. But Fireball isn't a thing yet. We haven't found a way to get infinite Fireball in Reignited. So, intended Ripto it is. Nice, 5,900 gems going into Ripto. That's the count. So let's see how RNG treats Shaw. Dang, those fireballs were close. Oh, we're gonna start off with the fireball power-up. Man, Ripto just runs around like crazy in this version. I find it's really annoying to try and land fireball hits. I feel like in the original, the green power-up was the best one. And I think that's still the case in this version. If you know where Ripto's gonna run to next, you can launch the bombs preemptively. He'll run into the explosions. But it's kind of hard generally, just because he likes to run around so erratically. Actually, I think it's kind of good, Ben. I thought it was kind of good anyway. At least for Mecha Gulp. I don't know about using it on Ripto. But on Mecha Gulp, the supercharge is actually quite good. Because you can just tap it, go through him, and then wait for him to land, and tap it again. Alright, nice. Phase 1 done. Also, no, Hunter doesn't die. I looked out for that. and I was very disappointed. Oh, that was a nice orb steal from Mecha Gulp. Also, I'd like to point out that Mecha Gulp looks like a pig for some reason. Okay, I don't know how Shaw got that orb. I think when Gulp tries to eat an orb, it the game pushes the orb to in front of Gulp, and so if you're stood there, it pushes it to you, essentially. Yeah, so this green power up is still as OP as it ever was. Oh my god, is he almost out the arena? Yes, he does die? Am I just blind? I swear I looked for it in the cutscene. Alright, supercharge, here we go. Wow, that was great, wasn't it? Oh! So he does. I would like to retract my previous statements about Hunter not dying in the cutscene. And so this phase is pretty much identical to in the original. Although I want to say it's easier. Ripto doesn't seem to have as much invincibility frame time. Like in the original, you would hit him once and then he would have iframes for a decent while before you could hit him again. Or at least he would fly around so erratically that you couldn't really get him quickly. But it's not the case in this. So there we go. That is Spyro 2 Reignited 100% by Shaw. What was the final time on that? $2:46.25. Pretty good time. Hey man, it's more important to be close to estimate than being massively under it.
Yeah, I better. They'll be missing me in the Dragon Worlds, and I've still got a vacation to take. I need it more than ever now.
So yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed watching that. Like I said many times throughout the run, the game's only been out for 5 days at this point, so you know, routing has not really happened all too much. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that can be optimized or added in to this run. Yeah, and also I've been asked to give a shout out for people to follow the Spyrothon channel. Apparently we're close to 1K followers. So if you guys could help make that happen before Spyrothon finishes, that'd be pretty cool. Oh, in-game time of 2:07. That's pretty good. I forget what Shaw's record is right now. But 2:07 in-game time. Seems pretty good. Thanks for the run, Shaw. So I think we've got Spyro 3 Reignited coming up next. It was Spyro 1 Reignited before this. It makes sense that it's Spyro 3 next. I don't know if Faulty is gonna unmute himself because I see him in the voice channel. Let's have a look at the schedule. Spyro 3 Reignited 3 any % by Nanachi SR.
Sure, I guess I'll unmute. Haven't done before, but yeah, thanks for the run. It was great. And yeah, we got 3 any coming up. That'll be the last of the marathon. Good finale. So stick around for a few minutes and we'll get that started.